Tom Holland reportedly injured on set on Spider-Man: A Brand New Day, and James Gunn potentially revealing the villain for Man of Tomorrow, and the underwhelming The Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, you guys. Boy, oh boy, I can't wait to jump into today's news. I am hyped. I am still hyped on that leak and reveal of Avengers Doomsday for the merch for the cast and crew. Just seeing, the X-Men in their iconic suits has me so much more hyped. I cannot wait for Doomsday next year. But let's jump into the main topic of the video, you guys. Tom Holland has been injured on set of Spider-Man: A Brand New Day. Now, this is coming from The Sun, and this is what they're reporting. Tom Holland was reportedly rushed to the hospital after a fall where he cracked his head after shooting a stunt on Spider-Man: A Brand New Day. Holland was treated for the concussion, and the stunt performer was also treated for their injuries. Now, this is quite common in these mega, massive action set pieces. People are going to get hurt. It's unfortunate, but when you really want to jump into the practical effects of doing some of these stunts, you guys, it can get extremely dangerous. Now, how serious is Tom Holland's injury? Like I said, he's been treated for a concussion. He was just seen, in London with Zendaya. They were at some kind of event and he looked fine. And apparently he's going to be back on set shooting Spider-Man just in a couple of days. So the injury was not that serious. The film is not going to be delayed. I don't think we have that much to worry about for this particular report of Spider-Man, Tom Holland being injured on set. Yes, it's very scary because when you read the headline, like I saw yesterday, Tom Holland injured on set, rushed to the hospital. I was like, oh shit, this can be absolutely serious. Like when Letitia Wright was injured on set of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever from a fall, from a stunt she was doing, right? Didn't delay the film, but it was quite scary, and it got headlines talking like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Is the actor okay? Are they going to survive? And unfortunately, like I said, it can get scary. There have been, instances where, some stunt performers actually do end up passing away because an injury they required on set. This is real life. So they do, put their lives on the line doing these incredible stunts that we get to see when we go watch these movies. It's absolutely awesome. And we saw a bunch of it during some of the, the set videos that were released for Spider-Man. It was awesome seeing, Tom Holland doing his own stunts and his stunt performers swinging through the city in glass cow. It was amazing to see, in a world where, AI and visual effects are so heavily used. It's awesome to see in these practical stunts being actually done in your own streets of where your hometown is. That is amazing to see. But Tom Holland is okay. Now, you guys, James Gunn has shared a brief photo of the cover of his script for Man of Tomorrow, the Superman sequel. And it teases the potential villain of that being Brainiac. Now, a lot of people were speculating, who could the villain be? A lot of people want to see Brainiac. Brainiac has never been done in a film before, and I think it's a good route to do something like Brainiac. You can't jump into Doom because, Doomsday, it's already been done before. Man of Steel leading into, Batman, versus Superman. You just can't do it. You have to wait a couple more years to do that particular storyline. So jumping into Brainiac for the sequel to Superman and seeing, Lex and Superman, essentially team up to take on a much bigger threat, I think it's a brilliant idea. And I can't wait to see how they're really going to feed off each other when they have to work together for one ultimate goal. And Brainiac is extremely knowledgeable, character, an extremely powerful character. Essentially he's out for the entire knowledge of the entire universe, going to, worlds, shrinking, cities before destroying them, just soaking up all of their knowledge. So I'm curious to see if it's going to tie into like a Krypton situation with Kara and her, being afraid of Brainiac. That would be really interesting to me. I mean, I would love to see something. Can you imagine if Krypton wasn't destroyed and Brainiac ultimately just shrunken down and still has it? That would be crazy. Or maybe Brainiac, is, a form of Krypton, technology. And, that's how you can tie it into Superman and his history and, Supergirl and Kara. Like, that would be absolutely epic. And you got to cast my boy Benedict Cumberbatch as Brainiac. I don't care what you guys say. I definitely would love to see Benedict Cumberbatch, to see him actually, physically embody a character like Brainiac. Hopefully when he's done with Doctor Strange. Or maybe he can do both. You never know. I mean, Dave Bautista, he flip-flops doing Drax, doing other... No, Dave Bautista's not. why I say Dave Bautista? He's not in the DCU yet, but other actors have essentially done that before, where they played a Marvel character or a DC character. It happens, and people are out to provide for their families, provide for their lifestyle, so taking on a role, and this whole rivalry of Marvel and DC is ultimately just stupid. But that would be my fan casting for Brainiac for Man of Tomorrow. Benedict Cumberbatch, abso-freaking-lutely. And to close out the video, you guys, Disney dropped the first trailer for Mandalorian and Grogu. So underwhelming. I saw the trailer. I did not even want to react to it. I stopped watching The Mandalorian when Lizzo and Jack Black showed up. And I was just like, what are we doing? What is this? And that trailer felt so underwhelming. It felt like an episode of TV. And that's the biggest problem. When you do these shows that are essentially just as expensive as movies, it's going to feel very similar. That's a problem. That's an issue. And Star Wars is in a very tricky spot right now. The fandom is dying down. Honestly, I saw where it was trending. It was like number 10 on X and Twitter. I'm like, that is crazy. The first trailer for a brand new Star Wars movie is trending number 10? That's a problem. That's an issue. So I don't know what Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and the boys at Lucasfilms are going to do, but I am worried for this film. I don't think that this film is going to do well at the box office. Star Wars is in a very different place than when it was, prior to its, last trilogy that was released, with The Last Jedi not being well received and Rise of the Skywalker not being well received and, doing Disney Plus series. To watch this movie, you have to watch, the first 3 seasons of The Mandalorian. For the average, moviegoer, they're not going to do that. So they're going to go into this like, well, what's this? What's that? Has this been explained? Yes, it's been explained between the Disney Plus content. Well, I don't watch that. That's the issue with trying to do all this Disney Plus content and trying to do movies and how it's essentially going to, all, connect. It's just too much going on at once. And fans like less. That's ultimately, like with Marvel and what they went through with all their Disney Plus content that was released. It was too much. Not everybody got caught up, like with WandaVision, and then seeing the transition over to film, or Captain America, Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier. A lot of people saw Brave New World, was like, what? He's Captain America? Where's the story? All of that breeds so many different issues. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about Tom Holland being reported being injured on set of Spider-Man: A Brand New Day, James Gunn potentially teasing Brainiac for the sequel to Man of Tomorrow, and the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Thoughts and opinions? Let me know how you guys are feeling. I want to know what you guys think. And of course, thank you guys for taking time out of your day for watching SeaWorld Productions. Peace.